Mute everybody's background in case so we have a nice clean recording. You can unmute yourself, by the way, if we get to a point where there's questions or that type of thing. Thank you guys for joining. Whoever just joined in from a 636, make sure at the end of this that I know that you were on, because I did not get you. So today we're talking about working with chocolatiers, and I want to thank all of you that got on the quick start kickoff calls. Hopefully it was very valuable to you. I know I've heard back from some of you today with some great takeaways, and then of course some of you were back on our coaching call right afterwards as well, so that worked out really well. But I'm really glad that you joined us and that you were able to get some really good ideas there. So tonight we're going to be talking about working with new chocolatiers, and I know you've all heard that the most important thing that you do is lead by example. And that is so true. So whether you need to get a real mirror and have in front of you, I actually have a mirror right here by my desk. And it's not to put my lipstick on with. It is actually to remind myself that I am a reflection. And that if I want a successful business, that I need to be what I want my chocolatiers or my team or whoever I'm working with to be as well. And by doing that and having that there, it's a reminder. If you're ever having a bad day, I look over in that mirror, and guess what? If I'm not kind of looking like I'm not on my game, it will come through in your phone calls. You may not think it does. You may think you're really good at putting on that Academy Award-winning show, but it does come through. And also, you've got to have the belief. One of my calls yesterday, and I think some of you were on it, I can't remember. I know which one it was. Lisa, this will ring a bell with you. It was a call we did. We were talking about doing practice interviews. And we said, if you don't believe you're really going to recruit in a practice interview, you won't. And that's really important to know. So you want to model the behavior. I want to give Rebecca Graham a little kudos tonight, because one of her gals, I think it was Cindy, shared with us that Rebecca did exactly what we role model to the managers that we want them to do. Before a team meeting, do an opportunity meeting. And Cindy shared with us that happened, and she had some success with that. She was pretty excited about it. So these are the things that you want to do. Another thing that's really important to note is that usually most of your people are going to do a little less than you do. And we talked about this at the very beginning. So role modeling a behavior at a level higher than what you want them to perform. So the first question is, we're going to talk a lot about really right off the bat. And there's some stuff in here that I'm going to share with you that's not even really in this book, okay? So just take good notes. I had a really great group coaching with a group of leaders earlier today, and they found this so valuable that I literally had two leaders say to me, I've been doing it all wrong all this time. I said, you haven't been doing it wrong. You've been doing what you knew was right. We're just building on your experience here. So to really get a chocolatier off to a great start, it really starts at the Cocoa Chat. So I'm going to pull a little cheat sheet out over here that I forgot to grab. I actually talked about some of this at a recent manager training, so you guys are getting it really early. But we talked about at that Cocoa Chat, as soon as that person says, you know what, I think I want to do this, you need to start setting expectations at that time. In fact, even when you're Cocoa chatting with them, you're starting to set expectations. So when you're talking about the training and the support that they receive, you'll say, now what you'll need to do to be successful is you'll want to attend your kickoff to quick start. We could possibly do that right today, right after this, or we'll want to do it in the next 24 to 48 hours. Ideally, you're doing that one-on-one with them. But if you're not able to, your upline leader may offer it, or we offer it as a company. Why is it so important if we offer it as a company for you to do that training yourself? And the answer to that is because it's all about building a relationship. And sometimes I had some really sharp people on my call last night, and I was sitting there thinking, I hope they don't have a better relationship with me than they do their recruiter or their leader, because that's not where the relationship is. I can't be their recruiter or their leader. So it's really important. But if all else fails, yes, absolutely use that training. So even your word choices, while you're doing the Coco chat, you're setting expectations. So if they say they want to hold 2 parties a week, throughout the Coco chat, you'll say, so when you're holding 2 parties a week, or when you're making your $500 or your $1,000 a month or whatever they're wanting, you're going to keep repeating that. And that is how you start setting expectations before they ever join. So then the next thing that's going to happen is they say, yes, I want to be part of this. So I want you guys, and I think I mentioned this a while back, but I want to reiterate it. I want you to either purchase additional Kickoff to Quick Start guides, or I want you to copy page 4 and put it in your recruiting packets, which of course, remember in my case is the same as your host reward, your host folders. Because as soon as they say they want to do it, say, well, before we go any further, let's get your kit and let's set your work schedule. And I actually role played this earlier today in a call, and there were some huge aha moments, like, oh, wow, now that person feels like they have a job. So in the case of the person that role played with me today, I said to her, I know you've told me you want to make big money. So I want you to choose 4 times a week, or 4 time slots, knowing time slots are only 2 to 3 hours. They're not 4 days, that you can do your business. And I said, but before we start, is there any day of the week you don't want to work at all? And this gal said Tuesday. So I took her calendar and I marked every Tuesday out. And then I said, so when would you like to hold your parties? And she said, well, I think I would like to do Monday night. I think I'd love to find some office parties because I'm home during the day for Wednesdays. I love Friday nights, and I'd like to work every other Saturday. Do 1 party every other Saturday. So she put 4 time slots, right? And I said, well, what about the week you don't work on Saturday? Oh, and she told me she couldn't work on Sunday mornings because they went to church. So I said, well, what about the weeks you don't hold on Saturday? So you want to do one on Sunday afternoon? That way you'll always have a Saturday or a Sunday off? And she's like, yeah. So then I showed her this and I said, look at all the available time you still have to do things with your family and friends. This is only where you see the dollar signs is where you're working. And I happen to know a little bit about, which you might as well when you're talking with your, hopefully you know. And I knew why she chose Tuesdays, because Tuesdays she and her husband play darts. And she doesn't want to give that up. And here's the cool thing. So I said, when you go home to your husband tonight and say, guess what I did? I joined Dove Chocolate Discoveries. He's going to say, well, when are you going to do that? And she's going to pull out a schedule. And I said, the first thing that he's going to notice is you blocked off every Tuesday night. And what is that going to say to him? I'm important first. And let me tell you, for those of you that are married or engaged, that goes a long, long way. Listen to a lady that was married the first time for 23 years and this time for almost 3 years. And I've done great, I've done direct selling through all of the years. So make sure that they know that. The second thing he's going to see is that you're taking you either have a Saturday, a full Saturday, or a full Sunday off every week. And at the top, I asked her what she was going to do with her money. And because she's going to be holding 3 to 4 parties a week, she's going to be making in excess of $1,500 a month. So right up here at the top of her calendar, it says $1,500 toward debt, overage, family, and kids. So now he sees, wow, she's going to be making $1,500 a month. So guess what? Not only do I want, if I'm her leader, want to hold her accountable, guess who else wants to hold her accountable? He does, because that becomes exciting, doesn't it? That becomes real business. Well, the next beauty of that is we always say we want them to hold their launch within 7 to 10 days, right? So if today's Wednesday, her 10 days are up next Sunday. And I said, so next week, your schedule is that you're working Sunday, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. It's a Saturday off. Next Saturday is. So when do you want to do your lunch? On Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday? Because she picked her work schedule, not me. So she picked Monday. And so then, because she started on a Wednesday, I said, well, this Saturday would be a work Saturday. And I happen to have a party at 10 and at 1. Which one would you plan to attend? So for your training. Not do you want to go? So, and it all, there, what can she say? She developed the schedule, not me, right? But now she signs up today. She goes to a training party on Saturday, and she holds a launch on Monday. And I challenged her to have another party for Wednesday and Friday of the very first week. Now, do you think that chocolatier is going to be successful with that kind of schedule? And guess what? She's going to have a paycheck before the end of the month. That's exciting, isn't it? And she's going to feel totally, can you imagine if this really happened today, she would have held her launch and a party and gone to a training party before the 30th. She'd probably be getting a paycheck for $200, and her husband's going to be thinking, oh my gosh, she only left the house 2 times. And I keep saying husbands because so often with the guys, money talks. Money talks. They need to know what the plan is. I know many of us have stayed home with our children, and then we'll say, well, my husband doesn't want to babysit at night. And I think, well, he's parenting, not babysitting, but that's my own personal opinion. But the reason a lot of them say that is because so many women get into this business and treat it like a hobby, and they spend more than they make because they aren't good money managers. And therefore, you know what? If my husband had a hobby that he left the house 3 times a week, I probably wouldn't want to be the babysitter either. Unless it was bringing a benefit to our family. How many of you would agree that that's true? So let's show them when we're going to work, when we're going to have parties, and let's help that new recruit. So that has all happened. Do you realize you can do everything I just did, include hostess coaching her launch party in less than an hour? I did a Coco chat. I set her business schedule. I set her launch date. I planned a training, and I hostess coached her, which is a training, because I'm going to tell her, now watch me, because you're going to be doing this. And guess what? How long would it take you? And yes, Rebecca, I will share that calendar. How long would it take you to teach all of that to one person? Probably 4 or 5 hours, right? If you did it individually, 3 at the medium, and I did it all in an hour, and I'd already set aside a half an hour for the Coco chat. So in an additional half hour, I was able to secure a very strong new chocolatier and set very good expectations for what she wanted. Now, the only question I didn't answer for you is, how did I determine how many parties that she wants to hold? So I always ask people at the end, do you want to make part-time? I say there's 3 kinds of money you can make in this business: part-time money, full-time money, or big money. Now, before you answer that question, I want you to ask yourself, if I knew I wouldn't fail, what kind of money do I want to make? Because I will tell you, I watched this. I'm trying to think. Melissa, you were on the call. You saw this happen. Or maybe you weren't on that early. I can't remember. But I asked that question. And when I first asked it, without prefacing it with, if you knew you wouldn't fail, most said part-time and full-time. Only one said big time. But when I went back and changed it, if you knew you wouldn't fail, all but one said big time. So that means that's what they really want, but their initial response was, I'm just going to tell her what I think I can do. Kind of how like we only ask people to join the business that we think will say yes. Right? So we want to clarify that. So then I got 4 time slots. Now, my hope is she holds 3 parties every week. I don't even care if she fills all 4. She can make big time money on 3 parties. That's 12 parties a month. You can make big time money on 12 parties a month. That's 36 recruit leads a month. That should net you out at about 4 recruits a month. That's big money. You do that for a year, you're probably going to be sitting at a six-figure income every single month because it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow. Can't do it 1 month, though, and not do it the next month. Got to do it every single month. Now, if she holds more, I want her to, here's the thing is, I want her to book 4 parties. Why do I want her to book 4 parties? Because we all know how many of you had a party cancel this month. I think probably everybody in here had a party cancel this month, unless you didn't have enough parties. So, you know, and we have to remember, if you have 1 party a week and the party cancels, you lost 100% of your parties for that week. If you have 4 parties on your calendar and 1 cancels, that's only 25%. Your paycheck looks a lot better when you only lose 25% versus 100%. So we have to remember that, and we're setting them up. Remember, no one joins your team if they don't think you're going to help them be successful. They're not going to go, oh my goodness, Sherry will never help me be successful, but I'm going to join her team anyway. That is not going to happen. They're going to, you know, Sherry's really successful, and I've watched her, and I've watched her leader, Rochelle, and they are great, and I know they're going to help me. And they expect you to lead them to success. They don't expect you to pussyfoot around them. If I go spend $10 million on a McDonald's franchise and they go, good luck, see you later, I expect the person I bought that franchise from to teach me to be successful. And it's only my fault if I'm not, for not doing what they said, right? So that is before they even get started. Look at all you've got. Isn't that exciting? So, Rebecca, here's going to be another calendar you're probably going to want. And I think I may have shown this one in the manager training. This is, what do you do in a chocolatier's first 45 days? Okay? And I'm going to talk you through it, but it really is a lot of what we talked about. So in that first 7 to 10 days, 14 at the most, I call week 1 until they start holding their own parties, but it has to be no more than 14 days. They're starting to lose ground. My chocolatier that held her party in 5 days has a party on day 7 and a party on day 10, has a much better chance of using all of her Miss Brown coupons than one that doesn't hold their launch until the 14th, and then at their 14th start booking parties for day 28 and day 30. Because now she's trying to cram 6 more parties in 15 days, and that feels overwhelming. This person looks and goes, well, oh my goodness, I have 24 time slots in 45 days, and they only want me to hold 8 parties, and I get to give away extra $20 in product. But we're going to talk about even earlier. So you're going to take them through the quick start kickoff. That is really important. Now I'm not going to read the quick start kickoff, because here's the deal. You can go do the training. And so I'm going to say, if you want to be successful, go watch it. I know that Amy Graziano, I know Becky Grant, I know Lissa Horan, I know Rebecca Graham, I believe Christy Salmon, who have been in the business longer than most of you on here, have all gone to that training multiple times. Why? Because they want to be good at it. My voice is not that entertaining. Some say it is, but it's really not. Okay? So they've gone because they want to be successful. Earlier today, one of my managers, I said something, and I said, you're absolutely right. What you just said is what we only think. She says, well, those aren't my words. Those are your words. And I go, well, they're not really my words. They're someone else's words that I copied. That's what we do in this business. We just repeat what we learn. Remember, I think I said it to this group last time. If you watched your children watch a movie over and over and over again, or your grandchildren, and they start to say the words, that's all you have to do in this business. How many of y'all know who Samantha Sherrill is? She's from Mississippi. She joined without an upline, and she really didn't meet her upline leader for a while, because there were a few in between that kind of just fell through the cracks. I'll just be honest. She said, I didn't know what I was doing. There was no chocolatier around. I just watched Molly's videos over and over and over again, and that's what I said at my parties. So it's not magic. So we're going to take them through the kickoff to quick start. The things that you're going to cover. The first step, committing to a quick start, that is where you're going to explain the program. One part of the program that people really forget to explain, I believe, and it's probably the most powerful part of the program, it's the part of the program that never, ever ends. How many of you know what I'm talking about? The part of the quick start that, be honest, if you don't know, do not raise your hand. Wow, that scares me. It is the Coco Cash match. It never, ever ends. And out of all my newbies, I didn't see one hand go up. That's the most important part of our quick start program because it never ends. Everything else ends in 90 days. So when I'm going over committing to a quick start, I do the recruiting piece first. Why? Because recruiting is at the top. You always recruit first, you party second, right? So I focus on the part that they might think is the most difficult, and I explain to them that even if all they did was use their 3 coupons and those people qualified, that's $375 bonus in their pocket. And we've had people make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 during that program. Is 7,000 normal? No. But is it possible? Yes. Is 1,000? 1,000's pretty reasonably achieved. I would say at probably 15 to 20% can achieve 1,000. It's a pretty high percentage for $1,000 bonus in your first 90 days, wouldn't you say? Do the sales part, and then I say, but do you want to know about the part that never ever ends? And the way I talk to them about it is I say, you are now a business owner, and every business has overhead. And I just use McDonald's because everybody can relate to it. McDonald's has to have a building, and they have to have employees, and they have to have burgers and buns and ketchup and cups and everything, right? Can you imagine if someone walked into you and said, if you do exactly what we say and do the business exactly what we tell you to do, we'll pay for all your overhead? Because that is what we do. If you're doing what we tell you to do, holding 3 to 4 parties a week, pulling 3 leads from every party, you are not going to pay any overhead. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but there's some people on this phone, on this Zoom right now that have a whole bunch of Coco Cash, Becky Grant, Amy Graziano. Because why? They recruit and they teach others to recruit. And so we know that their people wouldn't recruit if they didn't recruit, so we're going to reward them. Now, you can ask them this offline, but just ask them the last time they had to pay for a pack of catalogs, a box of brownie mix, or a conference registration. They're probably going to say never. In fact, I know they use it promotionally to incentivize. So not only are they running their own business, they're using it to run others' business. How do you get that? Every time. So Ashley, 6 months from now, when you're recruiting new people, you're not going to be in Quick Start, right? But when anybody you personally recruit that's in Quick Start and they recruit someone and they earn that $100 bonus or that $125 or that $150, we're going to match it in Coco Cash for you. So you get a little hot shot that earns $700. Guess what that means to you? $700 in Coco Cash. That would go pretty far, wouldn't it? Right? Sherry goes out. She gets someone that just does 3. That's $375 for you, Sherry. Sound pretty good? Not bad. Tracy gets one that just does 1. But then she gets another one that does 1. And she gets another one that does 1. That's $300. So do you want Mr. Morris to pay for all your supplies, or do you want to pay for them yourself? And I'll step out on the same limb that I stepped out on last night, even with a group this big. I bet you if all of us got together and added up all of our money and all of our assets, Mr. Mars still has more than we do. So why should we, po folks over here, compared to Mr. Mars, be paying for things that he's willing to pay for? I can tell you, You just go ask a McDonald's franchise owner if they would like for someone to pay for all their overhead, and what would that do to their profit level? So that is where I spend the most time, is making sure they understand that, because none of the rest of this matters if they don't. I asked them to do a calendar. Last night I said, everybody on this call should know when your day 45 is. If you don't, it's in your welcome letter. If not, call your upline or call field services. Get that date. I had them put it on here. I had them count back. Then I had them choose 10 time slots between now and the end of their 45 days to get rid of all those Miss Brown coupons. You want to know something really interesting? Do you know how many people don't even know there are such thing as Miss Brown coupons? Because they don't read their letter. They skim it. But guess what? It's our responsibility to tell them. So we get them in there. They see how they can use it. We teach them how to plan their schedule, just like I talked about earlier. If you didn't get a chance to do that at the Cocoa Chat, you've got a second chance now, but you've got to hit it early. You teach them, you get their business lunch scheduled. You have them create a contact list. You schedule their first parties. You invite their guests to them, teach them all of these things. And listen, you don't have to be fancy. If you did it, you can teach it. If you didn't feel like you did it as successful as you like, go back and listen to someone else, do the class over and over until their words become your words. And the very last one is taking your first steps to maximizing your earnings. And I got pretty tough on this one last night with my group. First time I'd ever gotten this tough, but I thought, I really want them to be successful. And I really want them to know that it really is a simple business. You just have to do it. So I said to them what I've said to you. I'm going to say it again because I gave all of you this task last week. And let me just tell you, 2 people that are brand spanking new did this out of 5. Pretty impressed. Because some of us have been in the business a long time and we haven't done it yet. So I'm challenging you to do it as well as the 2 did it last night that didn't know what they were doing. So they didn't have time to overthink it. So I said to them, I want you to pretend that I'm your fairy godmother, just like Cinderella. I have a magic wand. And just like tonight at midnight, like in Cinderella's story, that carriage turned into a pumpkin and her clothes turned into rags and the horses turned into mice. My magic power over you is going to go away as well. So when you hang up the phone, and for some people it was 9 o'clock at night, I want you to list the top 10 people that you would love to have on your team, no matter what. I don't care. I don't want you to think, will they say yes? Why would this be good for them? I just want, if you could go, because I'm your fairy godmother and I'm letting you borrow my wand till midnight, and you can tap 10 people and say, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you. And I said, now nobody would stop and say, well, I can only think of 7. Then you would take 3 not so good ones, because if you could never ever recruit again, this was going to be your team for life, but you had to have it set. But you got magic powers, so they're going to say yes. This is how you get people thinking outside and changing your thinking of trying to figure out who will say yes, but being more generous and offering the opportunity to everyone. And I have to tell you, I was so impressed with the 2 that did it, because they did it fast. Every one of them did it. When I got up this morning, I had those 2 emails sitting in my email box. So don't cheat yourself. And this is what I said to them. And I'm going to say it to you too. If you haven't done it yet, or if you have, maybe do it again. I can't make magic happen. Only you can. And the magic comes from the activity. Do y'all agree? Do you believe that? The magic comes from the activity. It doesn't come always. There are going to be some. Why do we do 21 days to success? Because it's about the activity. If you do the activity long enough, my mentor used to tell me, Laurie, if you ask enough people the wrong way, someone's finally going to say yes. And that's so true. I mean, you know how I always tell y'all, don't ever say, do you want to have a party? Do you want to have a party? Do you want to have a party? If you ask enough people, do you want to have a party? Do you want to have a party? Do you want to have a party? Someone's going to say yes. You can just get more if you do it the right way. If you walk around and go, you want to join a team, want to join a team, want to join a team, or you want to get a kit for $85, want to get a kit for $85, someone's going to say yes. It's just better ways to do it. And that's the way the magic happens. So I want to stop for just a minute and take everybody off mute and get some feedback about, and this is why I don't want you to just think about what I said. I want you to think about how, because I'm going to take you a little deeper, how does this help build a relationship for long-term success for a new chocolatier in their business? We're exactly halfway through, so let me unmute everybody. You have background noise. If I see it coming up,
it was so hot.
I know.
Somebody is with somebody and it's so hot. And I think it's Becky Grant. I muted her. Yeah, it was. She's gonna catch me. She's gonna get me for saying her name. Okay, who wants to share? All right, Melissa.
I think when you show someone the right way to do it in the very beginning of their career here, they're not going to waste time learning mistakes, repeating the same mistakes, and their business is going to boom. And they're going to trust that you are going to show them the right way, and then you've already established a relationship with them.
Okay, good. Right, if you show them the right way, you're building on the trust. And not that any of you would ever show them the wrong way.
Not intentionally.
No, but even if you're just investing in them, even if it's not the right way, that investment's still good. So don't,
right.
Here's what I don't want you to get so caught up in, is trying to do everything the right way, because I still don't do everything the right way. I learn something new every day. Just do the best you can. Again, my mentor used to tell me, you give your best, Laura, your best is usually good enough. Just give your best. Who else has heard something that's really impacted them, or that's helped them to think about what they're going to do going forward? Rebecca?
Okay, so I really, really like the idea of setting the expectations right from the Cocoa Chat. I think I touch on them, but I definitely think that going through that whole calendar and really showing them, even though I kind of did that, I think I probably did it a different way, which isn't as effective. So I really like kind of the way that you did that, and the fact you can take it and they can say, okay, go back to your support person, whether it's a mom or a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, and say, look, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and you can see now exactly what's going to go on. And I think that's really impactful, and to start that from the very beginning, it sets them a clear path, and they don't feel like they have to figure a whole heck of a lot out. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. I say that a lot. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, and I'm all about learning. I spent last night doing the business opportunity event for my team, and I think I probably watched Michelle's BizOp video about 7 times and took notes almost every time, to the point where I could probably do it as well as Michelle does. Right. So, but that's all I did. I just took her words and reused it. So doing it this way really gives them an opportunity to not have to overthink it. They can just follow the steps, and by you investing your time, that makes them feel special and worthy, and I think it helps not really make them indebted to you to prove you wrong or anything like that. Like they have to do this for you, because they really feel like you're there for them, and they know they can do it for them, and they're going to make you proud in the process.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love that you say, hey, I can do it almost as good as she can. And that's what she wants to hear. Why do you think she made the video, right? The best thing, the thing that's going to make you the proudest is when one of your team members does something better than you. Just like being a parent. You want your kids to outshine you. And it's the same in this business. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. You know what? I said this, I can't remember which call, because I did like 5 back-to-back calls yesterday. Sometimes I think when we use the word Cocoa Chat, it's confusing. People think you just have to chat about chocolate. A Cocoa Chat, if you want to change your language to help your head, change it to interview. You are interviewing someone for a position It's an independent position, but you're still interviewing them for a position with Dove Chocolate Discoveries. And it should mirror a regular interview. When you go to a regular interview for a job, if it's a good interviewer, they should ask lots of questions. They shouldn't just be dumping information on you. They learn about your skills. They learn about what you've done in the past. They learn about what you have that might marry up to what they're offering. They learn about what you're looking for, what kind of money you want to make, what kind of hours you're looking to invest, right? What do we do at a true Cocoa Chat? So I learned last night, Lisa said it was their call, that I think sometimes some of the lingo that we use confuse people. Because although I did a Cocoa Chat, well, what they really did was they chatted about chocolate. They chatted about our product. They chatted about what we do, but they didn't really do a Cocoa Chat in the sense that we call it a Cocoa Chat. A Cocoa Chat is about learning about a prospect, hearing about what we do, by marrying what we do with what they're looking for. Not just what we do. You got to marry the two and then offering the opportunity. And think about that when you go to an interview, don't you feel that when you leave, if it's a good interviewer, there's some expectations placed at the interview about what's going to be expected of you in the role that you're interviewing for. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to just change that. Just change it to interview. Cocoa Chats does sound fun, but also sometimes if you ask me, would you like to meet me for a Cocoa Chat? And I meet you and you start interviewing me, I might go, I thought we were just going to chat about chocolate. So if I'd say, we call it a Cocoa Chat, but would you like to meet with me to really learn more about what I do and how it could work for you as a business? That is setting the stage for what's really going to happen, right? So keep that in mind. Any other thoughts if anybody wants to share before we keep going here? All right. I'm going to put us on mute because we still have a little background noise, and we'll come back off here in a minute. So now that we've done that, we've gone through, you're starting to understand. Remember, go back every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. There is a quick start kickoff. In fact, when I was doing it last night, not because I was delivering it, I just thought there is so much great training in this thing. If you're struggling with bookings, go to kickoff to quick start or quick start kickoff. If you're struggling with recruiting, go to quick start kickoff. If you're struggling with word choices, go to quick start kickoff. If you need help setting up your calendar, go to quick start kickoff. Honestly, it's everything because this business is so basic. It's not that you need to learn a lot. You just need to get the basics down. Once you get them involved, then the real relationship really begins. So again, one of the biggest mistakes that a sponsor makes, because they say, well, they're joining the business, it's their business. No, they're joining your team, expecting you to lead them to success. And one of the biggest mistakes we make is, call me if you need me. They're not going to call you. And the ones that do, you're going to wish would quit because they're going to be the ones that call you 900 times with really stupid questions. So if they're calling you and putting to work what you suggest, that's okay. They call you all the time. But they're not going to call you. They don't have a relationship with you. So you need to do, so when in the old days, when I was growing up, I was not allowed to call a boy. My daddy would have had his flipping head. If he wants to see you, if he wants to talk to you, he has to reach out to you. He has to be the pursuer. He has to be the one to build the romance first. And our business is kind of like that because we are the ones that should be, and not really like a romance, but we are the ones that are in the comfortable position. Right? We have a support system. The new person doesn't. They're not going to reach out to you. So in the beginning, you should be reaching for at least their first 45 days. There should be no expectation that they're going to reach out to you. None. If they do, fantastic. But no expectation that they're going to. So you're going to reach out to them. And this is one of my favorite things that I like to use is a desk calendar. And when you get a new recruit, can't remember if I showed y'all this last week or not. So this is a sample desk calendar. I have my quick start people, and I won't go through all the other stuff, but just to start, my quick start people in one color and my parties in another. And as you grow, your future leaders in another. Why do I have my parties on this calendar? Because this is my training schedule. Remember when I talked about getting paid to train? So when I'm talking to you, this is sitting on my desk, and I can see it. And I'm talking to you, and I say, oh, Tina. I call you in the morning. I go, Tina, I know you've got your first party on your own tonight with Amalia. I'm so excited. Don't forget, your main goal tonight is when you walk in the door is to start observing people and pick out 3 people that you'd love to do business with. And remember, you're not through till you book 2, and if you want more, book 4. Tomorrow I'm going to call you so we can talk about the 3 people you picked out and why you picked them and about your bookings and when they are. I knew the hostess's name and what number party it was. Why? Because that says it's important. If it's important to me, it's going to be important to her. So I call her the next day and I say, tell me about the 3 people you picked out last night. Not did you pick them out, tell me about them. Well, I didn't do it. Well, let's talk about your guest. Who was the most competitive? Who was your helper? Who had the biggest smile? Help them pick out people so they know you're going to be serious every time because they told you they wanted to be successful. And these are the activities of a successful chocolatier. So when are the 2 parties that you booked? I'm going to write them on my calendar. Oh my gosh, I know you already had 4. So Samantha's number 6 and Cindy's number 7. That is awesome. You still have a coupon left. Tell you what, if you get 10 put on it before your day 25 gets here, I'll give them $20 in product because you are earning Cocoa Cash because they're going to be recruiting if they hold 10 parties in 25 days, right? I didn't say 45, I said 25. I shortened it up. You're going to be making money. Wouldn't you love to get $100 in Cocoa Cash because you told someone you'd give them 20? And chances are, even if they book 10, they'll be glad if 8 holds. So your desk calendar becomes, and so I call those before and after calls. And those are great relationship building calls. You're calling them to encourage them. So I would call and say, okay, Melanie, I know tonight is party 3. Do you realize you've already turned in $1,000? That means you've made $250. When you hit another 600 tonight, that's going to be at $1,600. Do you realize you're $480 towards your $1,500 goal every month to pay off your debt? And it's only the 8th of the month. Oh my gosh, make sure you pick out 3 people that you would love to have on your team and why, and book 2 new parties. Because I don't want you to just pay on your debt. I want you to have the fun money you desire too. How long did that take me? 30 seconds? 40 seconds? How many of you feel like you've got 40 seconds in your day to improve every single chocolatier on your team? If you had 10 chocolatiers on your team, 10 times 40 seconds is 400 seconds. That's about 6 minutes. You have 6 minutes? We do. All right, we'll add another 6 for the phone to ring and the answering machine to pick up. You have 12 minutes. Because chances are you're going to get their voicemail 90% of the time. It feels overwhelming till you really think about the reality of how often you're going to talk to them. How many of you have people that only like to text? Get a really inspiring text message. Use it every time. Change the name of the host, the number of the party, what they've already sold. Shoot them a text on the before call. But call them on the after call. They need to hear your voice. And you should be, that is not, a lot of people go, but this is their business. You're not managing their business, you're managing their expectations. Because you're making sure they're getting what they want. I had a really good question asked to me today, though, by a very senior manager. She goes, well, what happens when someone's not meeting those expectations and they get a little snarky with you? Well, I guess I'm disappointing everybody. She got a text like that recently, and she didn't respond. I said, well, first off, that was a great response, was to not respond. Because sometimes we can be a little snarky back, can't we? Well, maybe not y'all. You're probably perfect. I can be a little snarky back. And I said, so maybe you send tomorrow or after her next party. I can't wait to talk about the results from your party, hear who you picked out, and about the parties that you booked, the 2 parties that you booked. And if she comes back with another snarky, say, you know what? I am really sorry. I just knew that you joined my team to be successful, and I wanted to hold you to what you told me you wanted. Let's talk. Don't get upset, and let's revisit what you really want from the business. So I can have your permission to hold you accountable. Whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter. How can anybody get mad with you over that? If they do, they really don't want it. They're just being a little whiner. And we have a rule at my house, no whining at Gigi's. So I'm just take it to your business, no whining. So, but this little calendar right here can be a fantastic tool to help you know when people's parties are. And it also, as a leader, and I know all of you that aren't a leader yet are working to become a leader this month, and we still have plenty of time. I don't care if you have 0 recruits and 0 sales. You still have a week to make it happen. And I want you to push forward as if there's no tomorrow. I want you to walk across that stage. I want you to put John Wyckoff to put that key around your neck. Heck, what if the bachelor's the one putting the key around your neck? Some of y'all are going to be really disappointed you didn't become a leader if you don't get there. You just never know what's going to happen at our conferences. But that is where all your relationship building is going to come from. And then as you grow, we're going to talk about in your leadership is how to kind of separate the men from the boys. But it's all about building that relationship. There's some really great stuff in here on what to do in your first calls about what do you talk about? You can talk about, because you want to probably talk about their parties and then maybe have a 5-minute, what did you like best about your party and what did you struggle with the most? So let's say they struggled. Well, I had a couple people tell me they just didn't have time to have a party, but it seemed like they really wanted to. So you could there's some great questions to ask for. How do you overcome hesitations? Or ask them, how are you doing with your full service checkout? Because remember, they went and they've been shadowing you or someone else. And when you do a full service checkout, call it that. Tonight, I want you to watch. I have my recruiting brochures here. I have my host folders here, and I have my 3x5 cards here. And I want you to watch. We call this the full service checkout. And I want you to watch how I use it. Call it by name so that when you say, how's the full service checkout coming, they know what you're talking about. Check on their progress and how they're feeling. I got off the phone with Karen Simpson today, and she's like, oh my gosh, I just got off the phone with a brand new chocolatier. She is like hot and crazy. She's going to try to get to leader this month. And she just joined. So it's never too soon, but it's also never too late. So we have to know what's going on. You can talk about upselling, maybe their party average. How do you feel about your party average? Well, they're mostly just qualified. Well, let's talk about how many people do you have at your parties? Is it a selling issue or is it an attendance issue? If it's an attendance issue, is it an inviting issue or a host coaching issue? So you get to ask, and there's some great questions in here that are going to lead you to what to expect, okay? And then you'll know from there where you want to go. Party observations for anyone that wants to grow should still continue to happen. I would say in their first 90 days, it would be ideal if they went to one before their launch, one after their launch, and one right before their 90 days was over. Katie Ziegenhurt, who's in the catalog right now, Katrina Ziegenhurt, I went and watched her do a party when I was in Pensacola, and it was the simplest party I've ever been to. And I almost thought it was too simple, but she recruited 5 people, so I decided it wasn't too simple. And I asked her, I said, your party's so like amazingly simple. She goes, well, that's her manager's Jessica Jones. She goes, well, it's all I knew to do. Before I moved from California, I went on 3 observation parties with Jessica. So where does her success come from? Mimicking what she saw over and over and over again. Don't reinvent the wheel. So this week's homework is going to be continue your 21 days to success. This is a crucial week in your business. This is always the most crucial week in your business, is about 8 to 10 days prior to the close. You are not finished with June. So your goal is to put one more party on your calendar for June and 2 parties on your calendar to be held before July 15th. Do 3 Cocoa chats and recruit 1. That is your homework. 21 days to success, 3 parties, 1 into June is not over. So often when we get to this point, we start focusing too far forward. Or if we're pushing for a goal, we only focus right now. You've got, even if you're planning to promote to leader, you want to be set up for success going into July. So 1 more party into June, unless you need more than 1 to get your goal. But regardless, 2 parties into July, 2 new parties, no matter how many. Unless you have 4 before the 15th, you want them before the 15th. Because with conference and July 4th, your month's going to be in a little bit of a different situation. 3 Cocoa chats. What's a Cocoa chat? A Cocoa chat is an interview. It's not chatting about chocolate. It's learning about a prospect, hearing what they have to offer, offering them what we have, pulling it all together, offering them a job, and setting expectations. And come back with at least 1 recruit. And I'm going to give y'all, I'm probably not supposed to do this, but Kim and I are about to be in a big competition starting tomorrow. And so we really, 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 really need to recruit. Okay? So when you hear what I'm going to have to do if we lose, y'all better recruit. Okay? So, can't miss national conference either, because that's where you're going to see the payoff. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. I love Kim, but I'd rather her be embarrassed completely than me be embarrassed completely. Okay. So anyway, let's go do it. I want to get last minute thoughts. Remember to send me your aha moments. A lot of people forgot that last time. I had a pretty good list of who attended, but it really is great. Here's what let me tell you. You're doing me a favor by sending me your ahas, because that helps me to determine if there's something I taught on tonight that not one person says an aha, I probably don't need to put it in the next Promote with Passion. If 10 of you tell me that was really important, it was the first time I've ever said it, because that does happen, I need to make sure I repeat that. I have notes all through my leader's guide. I mean, Post-its, you name it. I use the same one over and over and over again. So I really do pay attention. Let me take everybody off mute, and I'd love to have any feedback that you all would like to give me.
I have a question.
Background noise. Put yourself
on. You said 2 before July 15th. I have 5 before July 15th.
Okay, then you can put your 2 after July 15th. Actually, I heard you had a rocky event the other night.
Yes.
Was it like 9 new parties or something crazy like that you booked?
It was, I think it was 7 or...
It's a fan, tabletop fan.
I had like 4 or 5 confirmed dates and then a bunch coming back to me.
Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next? You don't have to, but if you want to. All right, then. Everyone knows we have a BizOp that starts in 34 minutes. Not on this line, a different one, so make sure you get the right Zoom line. And it's on Facebook. And we're going to be doing, go over to your next door neighbor right now, call your best friend, call your mother, get someone on. Remember, it's a numbers. You just invite the numbers, recruit the masses, and let the cream rise to the top. Next week will be our last coaching sessions and our last meeting. I'm kind of sad, and I have to really applaud y'all. This is the largest group that has stuck with it since I've ever done this, and 3. So don't miss next week. So we have one more to get through. So proud of you guys. I look forward to talking to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.